Hello. I'm gonna watch out for your driving lines.
Why so?
And welcome back. The time trial qualifyings have just recently started, and we can already see Riksu and Turbomursu speeding off on the racetrack. Turbomursu, a very strong contender for victory in the CMP racing, CMP Gaming. Truthan has also arrived into the qualifying. 13 minutes remaining of the qualifying. But if we are not going to have too many drivers arriving onto the racetrack today, this will most likely be it. And it will be very interesting to see if either Turbomursu or Truthan will win the Mazda RX-7 championship. Turbomursu are an extremely veteran driver. An e-motorsport enthusiast, and if I remember correctly, even deals with competitive gaming and esports in general in real life as well. He is also part of some motorsports clubs in somewhere in Finland. Usually, also. Yes, part of motorsport clubs in somewhere in Finland, but they mostly deal with motorsports in online and sim racing. Let us see if the other drivers have arrived. Let's see how Truthan is going. Truthan has recently started his own time trial and loses control and cuts his first lap, unfortunately, yes. Donington Park is a very narrow track, and it has a lot of these extremely wide corners, meaning that slowing down and braking at the correct time, trying to save momentum and speed when you leave the corners, that will be extremely crucial for the drivers. And also the fact that drivers should not start drifting midway. It seems that our first times have arrived. Well, 254 and 304. Nothing to celebrate about those, nothing to brag about those, since Riksu during practice laps set 216 as the fastest track time, as the fastest lap time on the track. And the Turbomursu brakes too late and goes off the track. Which was to be expected, because he drove into that dead corner extremely fast and extremely speedy. Let's see if Riksu is faring any better. He has had a little bit more practice compared to the others, but we will see if he can capitalize on his intimate knowledge of the Donington Park and a racetrack, and possibly even be a strong contender for victory on the race. In the last week's race, he came in third place behind Truthan and Hawk on Valencia Street Circuit, and this was mostly because of the fact that there were no other drivers attending that very race because of the Easter holidays, which is quite unfortunate, but also very understandable. Riksu, unfortunately, at the very last corner goes out of the track and most likely won't have a fastest lap set for today. But then again, instead, Turbomursu sets an extremely comfortable 1:56.942 like I said earlier in the practice labs while spectating Riksu's driving, it is possible that some more veteran drivers are capable of finishing the track in under 2 minutes. Turbo Mursu most certainly will need every single point he can get so that he can catch up onto Truthan on the racetrack. But most likely, since Truthan and Turbo Mursu will be competing for victory, a victory in Donington Park will also definitely mean a victory and coming into first place in the first ever CMP Gaming's Japanese Domestic Models Cup. My dear viewers, in the meantime on the Discord chat, feel free to comment on which of the drivers you will most which of the drivers you root for winning Donington Park and possibly even the entire championship in the end. Turbo Mursu tremendously improving his earlier time, setting up 1:58.78. Truthan and Riksu's times are coming up far behind. Truthan just shy of 2 seconds over 2 minutes, and Riksu with an almost 17 seconds over 2 minutes in the lap time. Let's see on Truthan's point of view. From Truthan's point of view, he has studied the track a little bit more carefully. He starts to understand the corners and the importance of braking at correct times. This corner coming right behind a small uphill crest will most likely also be a very damning evidence. Riksu also tremendously improving his earlier time, cutting off almost full 8 seconds from his previous fastest lap time. That unfortunately won't gain him any head start compared to Truthan, but we will see later on in the race. Truthan here cutting out the Melbourne corner, and with a little less than 7 minutes remaining in qualifying, we will see if Truthan can improve his time into under 2 minutes. Yes, he can! Yes, he can! 1:53.756. Ugh. Ooh. Numbers are very difficult. I'm bad at math. 1 minute 53 seconds 756. Just a little under 3 second time difference to Turbo Mursu. Only 2.9 second time difference compared to Turbo Mursu on the fastest lap. This dawns for an interesting competitive race between Turbo Mursu and Truthan. Can't wait to see how these two drivers will perform on the racetrack. Truthan might not have been as fast of a driver as Turbo Mursu has been, but then again Turbo Mursu hasn't been immune to making mistakes on the racetrack at the very critical moments. That costed him a lot of points in the earlier time of the championship compared to Gravelight. Competing between Gravelight and Turbo Mursu, that used to be a staple in the first races of the championship. But it seems now that instead of Gravelight, we will have to root for Truthan to win the championship in the end. Turbo Mursu, Truthan, Riksu. One Hungarian, 2 Finnish drivers. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the qualifying. We will see if Turbo Mursu can even improve his time even further, maybe getting under 1:50. It seems that he's unable to do it on this lap, but then he should have more than 3-4 laps remaining to able to improve his earlier time. Truthan also trying to improve his time to get that little bit of a head start on Turbomursu. Every single second for Truthan counts. He has been extremely lucky and victorious in the previous 2 urban tracks, both at Singapore, at Miami Bayside, and in Valencia. And he has to use every single inch of his skills to be able to beat Turbomursu on the racetrack. This will be extremely important as a deciding factor in the future. And we will see that future coming up nicely in just over 3 minutes when the race itself starts. The drivers will be prepared. Everything will be ready. Riksu, can he improve his time? No, unfortunately no. Riksu might not be a strong contender for victory in this Donington Park track, but he has done tremendously well in the attendance department. Also, this competition will also determine if Mazda RX-7 will be a staple in the CMP Gaming's racing car history. And also, this will also decide yours truly if he is able to continue hosting these casting couch, racing, commentator activities. But we have in the future we will have interesting things possibly set out for you. Truthan currently retired to the pits, seemingly trying to fix his settings. Maybe retiring to the pits completely, but maybe even trying to get that one final quick lap. 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes remaining on the qualifying rounds. Seemingly Turbomursu is completely unstoppable on the track. Turbomursu is more than ready, able and willing to be victorious on the championship. Probably the only reason why he has fallen from his first place in the championship was his abstention during the Easter holidays in Valencia street circuit. Just a little bit over 1 minute remaining of the qualifying. It seems that neither Riksu, Truthan or Turbomursu are able to improve their time, so it could be even safe to assume that this will be the starting setup for the race. Little under 1 minute remaining, and this will be the final overtime lap for both Turbomursu and Riksu. Truthan clearly satisfied with his second place in qualifying. Turbomursu satisfied with his, most likely very satisfied with his first place in qualifying. Because he got the fastest lap in qualifying, he will most likely also get +1 point in his scoreboard. But that won't be enough for him to overtake Truthan on the championship. Because he needs a good full points to surpass Truthan in the scoreboard. The qualifying round is over, and the drivers are soon arriving at the last corners. Let's see if Riksu can improve his time, possibly even under 2 minutes. him playing with a VR headset on a first-person view most likely slows him down because his chance of observing the track is comparatively much more obstructed compared to the other drivers who are using a third-person camera view instead. It seems that Riksu instead decides to return to the pits instead of going for the fastest lap. He drives over Truthan's pitmaster, and Turbomuso at the very last second manages to improve his time even further. 1 minute 49 seconds 539. And so the qualifying round is over and the drivers are prepared to take off soon. We will go on a short break before the racing starts.
Seems like Brave have not gonna join.
Well, it's head to head then.
What?
It's just you and me and Riksu then.
Mm-hmm.
Fit.
Well,
Remember the fuel. Almost forgot.
This is a shorter track, so I think
Yeah, but
I'm gonna go
I had
with
fuel for
40
10
laps.
laps, so I would have run out before the race end.
And we are back. The drivers have lined themselves up on the racetrack, nice and steady. Turbomuso starting from the first lane, second lane Truthan, and third lane Riksu. Fourth lane, the last lane is reserved from yours truly, Singotsimo. But of course, I won't be racing in this competition with that yee little Italian shopping cart. 20 seconds remaining before start. Ten seconds remaining there. The lights are on. The lights are coming on. 3, 4, 5, 6, and here we go. The drivers are ready for liftoff. No, cameraman, what are you doing? Cameraman, no, please. Observe the racers instead. Thank you. Trying to control these camera works, it really is a hassle. Anyhow, back to the race. Turbomuso speeding off in a very strong lead, with Truthan coming up and behind. Relatively unscathed. I wonder whether the time differences are coming along. Truthan only 1 second behind. Riksu most likely in the little over 3 seconds behind Turbomuso. Truthan is speeding off and extremely nice and steady. Riksu also coming up behind Truthan strongly, but losing some precious seconds trying to find those correct lanes for himself. Riksu coming up behind. Only 2.5 seconds behind Truthan. There's a fast arriving to the first chicane, the last chicane, the double S's, before the Melbourne hairpin. Riksu trying to find a proper lane. He doesn't leave the corner fast enough to gain up on Truthan, but that is okay, there are still plenty of laps remaining. This is just the first lap of the track. A little bit of a wide turn from Riksu's point of view. Turbomusu just speeding off with an unstoppable resolve. Turbomusu speeding off with an unstoppable resolve. Here he comes. I wonder, where's the CMP tower? Thank you, CMP tower. I mean, the ACTV tower finally arrives. It is easier to control camera angles when I can see that the time difference table on my left corner. The second lap has started. Truthan is 3 seconds behind. Riksu has fallen already 10 seconds behind. Riksu has had relatively clean driving. Every single driver has avoided any major mistakes so far. If Turbomusu can keep this up, he will be victorious and winner of the Japanese domestic models Mazda RX-7 Cup for CMP Gaming. My good viewers, please lend your energy to the drivers. See who is going to be. Do you have any guesses who is going to be the winner in this race and who is going to be the champion of the Japanese Domestic Models Cups? Please write in the comments. Write in the chat. Truthan trying to gain up on Turbomusu, but alas, so far he hasn't been able to quite catch up to him. Truthan setting up with a fastest lap time of 1:58.617. Turbomusu with a very comfortable 1:55.3628, and Riksu with a relatively decent 2:52.32. Turbomusu now at the finish lane after the last chicane, hairpin turn. Hitting up a very nice fastest lap of the race, 1:53.97. Truthan with a little over 1.5 seconds behind. Turbomusu loses control, goes outside of the track, but he doesn't lose too much precious time, although the Truthan is now able to catch up to Turbomusu. Riksu manages to beat the 2-minute mark with his fastest lap time of 1:59. But he's now losing speed. He's losing speed, and the time difference between Truthan and Riksu has already grown almost to 20 seconds. Meanwhile, Truthan and Turbomusu are still fighting head-to-head. Truthan is still falling a little bit behind on the third lap. He has to improve his corners. He has to save more speed to gain momentum to catch up to Turbomusu, because he cannot count on the fact that Turbomusu is going to make any mistakes on that track. Turbomusu is vehement on his ability to win the upcoming race. One of the viewers clearly wishing, one of the viewers clearly is rooting for the underdog Riksu on the racetrack. Riksu has already secured his third place and a bronze medal on Donington Park race because of the failures of other drivers attending on the racetrack because of the CMP Hell Let Loose event, currently starting right now. Truthan improving his earlier time, 1:52.264, but still not being able to quite catch up on the Turbomusu. The time difference between those two drivers has already grown to almost 6 seconds, but Truthan is not letting up, and I really hope and wish he won't. Riksu hitting average lap times of 2:05 has not been able to quite catch up onto the other drivers so far. But anything can happen on the racetrack on Donington Park. The beautiful scenery, the beautiful open British countryside scenery, lending a perfect backdrop for our final Japanese domestic model championship race. We started out on Silverstone, then we went out to Japan to Suzuka, then we went to Autopolis Oita, then we arrived on Singapore, then we went to Miami, Florida, and then the last weekend we were on Valencia streets, racing on Easter holidays, and today is the final race day. Back to United Kingdom, going back to England, not back in USSR, we're back in the UK, my good people. Turbo Musu coming up on the fifth lap, not able to improve his time considerably, but then his average lap time is closing up into 150. Truth Honey ever improving his time, once again hitting the fastest lap, but he's quite not yet able to catch up to Turbo Musu for some reason. Even though Truth Honey is improving his personal time every single time he finishes the track, it seems that Turbo Musu on average is a lot faster. No! Truthan loses control of his car and drifts away, losing precious seconds right over there. Oh, dearie, dearie, dearie. Very unfortunate. But still, there is still the halfway point mark. Riksu clearly trying to improve his time. He has improved his time by 1 second. One of the viewers clearly rooting out for the demise of Turbo Musu and victory for Truthan. Turbo Musu most likely will be motivated by lack of confidence in viewers for his skills to then drive even faster on the track. Here he comes to the Melbourne hairpin, taking it nice and steady, nice and slow. He has gained up on time compared to Truthan. Truthan is only just arriving to the hairpin turn, while Turbo Musu is about to go to the second lap, to the final hairpin turn before the finish line, taking it nice and steady. Let's see if he improves his time even further. Not by a large margin, but he still is able. He hasn't been able to catch up on his 149 he hit on the qualifying just before the final end of overtime. In the far distance on the sky we can see the British Typhoon fighters flying overhead, Eurofighter Typhoons and commercial airliners flying over the racetrack in a suspiciously similar manner every single time. The drivers pass on the racetrack. Going back to Truthan's viewpoint, he has fallen way behind by 13 seconds, unfortunately. Riksu hasn't made any major mistakes on the racetrack, hitting nicely 2 minutes and a half a second, improving his time considerably, almost catching up below 1 minute mark, but not quite being able to catch up to Truthan so far. And seemingly Truthan is also unable to catch up to Turbo Musu. Turbo Musu comfortably in a lead, so right now he's vying for victory. He's trying to catch up on the championship. His chances of victory are ever growing seemingly if he doesn't make any more mistakes. Donington Park, however, is a relatively simple track and seemingly fast to learn. Turbo Musu breaking his earlier record, 1:48.674 time. The fastest lap on the track so far, He goes a little bit wide on the first corner after the finish line, but that doesn't seemingly bother him. Truthhunter improving his personal time yet again, but he's still 1.5 seconds slower on average than Turbo Mursu when comparing the fastest lap times they both have achieved. Truthhunter has to make or break. He can still see Turbo Mursu in a far distance. He's trying to improve his driving even more, but he clearly has a little bit of a difficulty trying to catch up on these first fast corners after the finish line. Unfortunate, he has to improve on those. He has to improve on those fast because there's only so many laps remaining. Truthhunter now losing a bit of traction on the track. Riksu improving his time even further with exactly 2 minutes, but he has already fallen way behind. He hasn't made any big major mistakes, however, compared to the other drivers. Oh, he loses a little bit of traction and spins out of control. Maybe I should just not talk about people making mistakes.
Basket just jinxed
Because
Riksu.
this happens every single time when I mention somebody not making mistakes, and they immediately at the very same moment make some driving errors. Quite unfortunate. Turbo Mursu coming along here on the 8th lap, opening the 8th lap. Only 1/3 remaining on the racetrack. He hasn't been able to catch up on his fastest lap time. Truthhunter is trying desperately to catch up on the Turbo Mursu. He has fallen way behind. Plus 15-second time difference, although then his time hasn't been, although his lap times haven't been too bad so far. Riksu falling behind 1.5 minute compared to Turbo Mursu's lead. Turbo Mursu is in a very comfortable lead right now. He can even take back and relax and not try to drive as fast as possible, but then again, Turbo Mursu is trying to win with flying colors. He has been a very strong contender for victory in every single race he has attended, but so far, on average, Truthhunter and Turbo Mursu have been very strong drivers. Truthhunter has finished up on the 3rd place on most races, with the exception of the previous 2. Both in Miami and in Valencia, Truthhunter caught up on the victory on urban street tracks. Truthhunter coming up onto the final on the Melbourne hairpin turn to the right. Still has fallen behind considerably compared to Turbo Mursu. Turbo Mursu is already about to overtake Riksu by 1 lap. He's drifting a little bit, but he manages to save momentum and regain control of his car. He's going inside of the track. Very interesting tactic. Is Turbo Mursu starting to slip a little bit? Pun intended. He's starting to drift away. Alright, I'll stop. But if Turbo Mursu starts to drift away from careful driving, he will most likely still has to compete. He most likely will lose more time if he starts doing any extra shenanigan tricks like these, driving off the track from the outside. Truthhunter trying to catch up onto him. The difference between these 2 drivers are growing by the second. Only 3 laps remaining. Turbo Mursu is about to arrive on his 10th lap, about to overtake Riksu by 1 lap. Hopefully Riksu will understand that Turbo Mursu is trying to overtake him. A gentleman to a gentleman, trying to bypass If Riksu would be a very nasty driver, he would try to block Turbo Mursu as much as possible to give Truthan a chance of victory, but Riksu is not that kind of a person, and he gives way to Turbo Mursu. Truthan trying to catch up on the drivers. He has so far been able to catch up a couple of seconds to Turbo Mursu, but unfortunately that won't seemingly is not enough. Now he has to wish for a big major miracle on Turbo Mursu's part for him to be able to catch up. Truthan on average was faster on this time than Turbo Mursu. Turbo Mursu's previous lap was on 1:53.659. Truthan was 1:51. But Turbo Mursu won't let that happen. He is aiming for victory. He's aiming for that very, very, very sweet victory. Rear view mirror is clear. You can see Truthan going off on the track. Or was it Riksu? Maybe it was Truthan going off track right there, but on the rear view mirror. But we'll see if Turbo Mursu is able to secure his victory in Donington Park and the overall victory in CMP Gaming, Mazda RX-7 Cup. This will be one of the defining moments in the championship. I myself have been extremely proud. I am extremely humbled and lucky to have people like these who are enthusiastic about sim racing. People who are interested to join, interested to experiment new cars, new ways of racing. In real life, we would probably never be able to see something quite like this in racing, in real life racing, in real life motorsports. Mazda RX-7 cars vying for championship all around the world, all around the globe, in interesting tracks, in interesting sceneries. Turbo Mursu, Riksu, and Truthan. Truthan is about to catch up onto Riksu and trying to overtake him by +1 lap, but unfortunately he makes a slight mistake and drives outside of the corner. Turbo Mursu himself is very steadily, slow and steady, trying to win the race. There are only 2 laps remaining. And it seems that Turbo Mursu is completely unstoppable on the racetrack. He's completely unstoppable on the racetrack. And he's trying to win. He's aiming for that sweet victory. Riksu is meanwhile trying to give way to Truthan. From the outside, Riksu most likely won't be victorious anymore. But Riksu has been a very good driver. He has been a very, very committed driver. He might not be the fastest. He might not break even. He might not gain points. But by God, he has been a very staple member in this CMP Gaming racing. Turbo Mursu here coming into the final hairpin turn right before finish line, and he's about to go on the last lap, the final lap in Mazda RX-7 Cup. Here it starts. Here it comes. Leader is on the final lap. The final lap of the championship. The very final lap of the championship. Over 7 weeks, 2.5 months we have seen plenty of drama on the racetrack. Plenty of drivers making critical mistakes, breaking even, overtaking, crashes, final moment mistakes, surpassing expectations, subverting expectations, making the best possible content you can ever have on a Twitch channel when it comes to hosting minor racing events like this, minor sim racing events like this. Turbo Mursu at the halfway point. He's ready. he has already proven himself to be a very capable and strong driver. Truthan probably has to concede defeat. He has to now settle for second place in the championship and second place in the race. Turbomusu coming into the final chicane right before the end. He's right about to make history in CMP Gaming and set the course of sim racing. The final Melbourne hairpin. Here it comes. Turbomusu is more than certainly. He will be crowned as the ultimate champion of the CMP Gaming's Mazda RX-7 Cup Japanese domestic model cars. The ultimate, very, very ultimate champion, taunting the other drivers by drifting, by driving, by making slalom chicanes. And there he is, the winner, the ultimate winner of the Mazda RX-7 Cup. On the finish line, Turbomusu. Then the fighter pilot from Finland. He is victorious. Truthan unfortunately couldn't break even to Turbomusu's racing talents, and he has to concede defeat. But judging by the both drivers' abilities to make donut rings on the racetrack, Truthan most likely is not very much upset. And here comes Riksu, also on the finish line. He quite wasn't unable to catch up on the other drivers and be faster than the others, but he will join the celebration. He came in third place on the racetrack, and rightly so, because he attended the race in the first place.
You had a bad start.
We will go on a short break and hear comments from the drivers on the TeamSpeak channel. We'll be right back.
But on the positive side, I don't have to drive down to Hungary and deliver the trophy for you. Well raced anyways.
So, drivers, how do you
Hello.
feel?
Sound resumed.
So, how do you drivers feel? How do you feel?
Good, good.
I'm glad it's over.
Yes. I have to say that the Hell at Loose event came at the wrong time, because we could have had a more interesting competition in there for the first place, but such is life.
People have priorities. This was mine.
Yes, I understand that very much.
Yeah, I just said to Truthan that I had to win, or otherwise I would have had to drive down to Hungary to deliver the trophy.
Yes. Well, very much understandable. The driver attendance wasn't the best at the final two races, so that probably subverted our expectations in general, but
Yeah, it's kind of sad we don't have more people.
I understand, but such is life in CMP Gaming, racing, and sim racing in general. Well, Truthan, how did you feel about Donington Park? You were a lot stronger in urban tracks, but this time around, Donington Park proved to be not your strong suit.
Yeah, that's true. It was another track I had to learn on the fly. Didn't really know the track. Last week I said I know the track, but I was mistaken. It was another one with a similar name. Maybe, I don't know.
Yes, yes, indeed. And Turbomukasu, how did you feel about Donington?
Well, it's a nice track, and I was familiar with it. I had a race just a few weeks ago in it, so I've had like more than 100 lap on this altogether this year. So maybe that made the difference.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably.
But yeah, I didn't have much time to practice for this one, and actually I was quite confident because of the previous practices I had. So I kind of knew this track pretty well. It was just the understeer of this car was causing me a little bit problems, but as you saw, yeah, overall very nice track, and I knew I had to be on my toes all the time because one mistake and Truthan would have gone past me, so had to focus all the time, which is pretty hard for me sometimes.
Yeah, especially if there are any Germans breathing down on your neck, on your bumper.
Yeah,
Fortunately for you, he's most likely currently driving a Tiger tank again on the Hell at Loose event. So
yeah, but if we had like all the races we had so far, uh, this would have been a very different kind of race.
yes, racing attendance really made a difference here in the championship, and most likely the final standings means that Truthan and Turbomurosu and Hawk will be crowned as the champions. But the ultimate winner is, of course, you, Turbomurosu. And yes,
Yahoo!
yes, congratulations.
But I have to say extra thanks to Riksu because he's been a true fighter in this series, like attending every race and no matter like how many mistakes there has been and different tracks and all the stuff with the VR and things, and he still struggled, uh, fought till the end. So it's a big thumbs up to him. Hope to see him again.
Yeah, most likely because he's a complete outsider to CMP community previously, so it is not always probably very not the well. It's a thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, I have to also very much like give my personal thanks to him also for attending all the races alongside with Truth Hunter. Because Truth Hunter and him are probably the only persons who have attended every single race in the event so far.
Yeah, I think so.
But other than that, congratulations Turbomusu and Truth Hunter. You
You.
two gave a chance. You both gave a chance for this to be an interesting race and interesting competition, and the point difference between you wasn't that big in the end.
How much was it? I
Uh,
was 2 points behind when we started, so
so you gain 2 points by having the fastest lap, both in qualifying and in race, and you get 25 points, and Truthan gets 18.
oh,
The point difference before the race was already only 2 points, so basically you won by a 7 point margin, if my math is correct.
yeah, that's nice.
Meaning that, yes,
Insert Jukka Jalonen victory face.
well, I will probably try to attend the CMP Gaming Hell at Loose event myself, and this is the end of the championship. What can I say? I will give my closing thoughts to the dear viewers of the stream and be it off. see you around, both of you, and hopefully see you in the near future if we are going to have any more races like this.
Yeah, well, I'm planning a rally championship over the summer, so you're welcome to join.
Yes. Thank you. See you around.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
User disconnected from
Yes.
your channel.
Thank you. See you around.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Disconnected.
Okay, that's it.
Well,
Gonna
that was a
finish the
very
stream
interesting
and
championship, wasn't it?
eat a little bit. So
We had lots of fun times. Of course, the attendance on the
Yeah,
final
enjoy.
tracks, final races
See you.
wasn't the best.
bye bye.
But alas,
Disconnected.
such is the nature of this nature of sim racing. Lots of good memories, however, came from this race, from this championship. Mazda RX-7 was proven to be an extremely capable of a fun car to drive. And most likely, we will enjoy Japanese domestic model cars in the near future as well. And hopefully in the CMP Gaming and in the near future somewhere else, we will also host further races. In the upcoming summer, CMP Gaming will also orchestrate our Colin McRae Dirt Rally 2 championship as well. So, the people who are interested in that, feel free to join and register in CMP Gaming forums to join up and race in Rally Championship. Other than, compared to this one, you don't have to attend at specific times. You can drive the designated sprints at your own leisure within a certain time frame. However, this hosting in Twitch has been mostly an experiment for me. And there are lots of things that I can improve. There are lots of things that I can improve in terms of racing hosting. I understand that. This was